Hi everyone, it's Nicole here again. Um, I haven't had a lot of time to read lately because I went back to school and started my art class. I'm doing work for a senior project right now. But I wanted to come on tonight to talk about some of my favorite Abbi Glines books. I love all her books, and Seabreeze was my old favorite, but now I actually have a new favorite. So, a new favorite series by her. So, my first favorite book is Until Friday Night. This is about Wes and Maggie, and it's about her moving in with her cousin Brady and his family, her Uncle Boone, and her Aunt Coralie, after she sees her father murder her mother. And I just really liked it. Um, like just the way it was set up and how Maggie didn't talk, and her and Wes had this special connection with like them meeting at the field party, and just they had a relationship and understanding because Maggie went through something traumatic with her dad like murdering her mother, and West's dad is dying, and Maggie and West like really there for each other. And I also just love like the supporting characters. Like I really loved Gunner's character, and like Brady. Brady was my favorite. Kind of reminded me of my own cousin, and I loved him and Maggie's relationship, and them getting to know each other again after not seeing each other for a while, and just the dynamic there in the house. And it was just a really nice book to read, and it's really helped me through a lot of hard times in my life. So, this is definitely like my first favorite book in the series. My second favorite book in the series, it's a tie between Under the Lights and After the Game. I love Under the Lights because we get to know more about Gunner and how, like in the first book, he was kind of like cocky. And we get to learn more about like his family and how him and his brother don't get along, and how his dad was a jerk. And it kind of reminded me of like Woods' dad from the Rosemary Beach series, and how he was very demanding. Except this was the opposite because the dad liked Gunner's brother Rhett more than he liked Gunner, because he knew Gunner wasn't really his child. And I like Willa's like part in it too, and how she she went to a juvenile detention center because something happened with a friend of hers, so now she's living with her grandmother. And how like she wanted to really please her grandmother by going to school and being really good. And it wasn't like the Vincent boys, like she still really was good. She just like was more attracted to Gunner because it's kind of like opposites attract, and they kind of had more of a friendship than her and Brady did. With Brady, it was kind of just like infatuation, and then like with Gunner, it was kind of like friendship and love, and that's kind of how they ended up together. And I really liked their interactions. And then the second book after that is my second favorite. So Tower Find the Lights After the Game. I really love Riley in the second book, and how she would love ride home, and I love how they would always talk about people like hating her because of what happened with Gardner's older brother Rhett. And it's a very sensitive book because it deals with a lot of like issues like rape and just like being an outcast and having to deal with that. And it's actually the first book I think that Abbi Glines made that the girl was an outcast at first. And that's what I really was interested in more about, because I kind of went through something similar in high school, so it kind of relates to what I went through, except I wasn't raped and I didn't have a kid. But um, definitely can relate to Riley's character, and also she was a badass. And Brady just like was my favorite from the first book. So when he got, and the second one too. So when he got his own book with Riley in the third book, I was really excited for that, and I really liked to watch their story unfold and play out. So this was a really good book. My third favorite after those two were a tie is Losing the Field. And I actually didn't really expect to like this one, but I actually really did. It's I can relate to this one too. It's about this girl named Tallulah, and she has always had a thing for Nash, and they were kind of like friends when she was like kind of overweight, and then he laughed at a joke aimed at her, so she made sure she would be thin and get revenge on them by coming back and being um a new dress size and feel really confident in herself. And she's also mean to Nash a little bit because he laughed at her. And I really like this book because I kind of struggle with my weight in my life, and people have said things, and I work out to keep myself in shape. I'm not like obsessed with it, but Jalila was like, she really wanted to make sure that she could get these boys back, and she sort of did by coming back and tricking everyone into thinking she was new when she was actually, you know, an old student there, but nobody knew who she was, and she had changed her appearance physically. And I do like Nash. He was fun to to get to know better in the book. I really liked him in the first one too, and until Friday night. And now he went through something, and it kind of took him off his game a little bit. And it kind of reminded me of Jason Street a little bit in Friday Night Lights. If something similar sort of happens, maybe I don't know if that's how she was trying to go with this book or not, but this one was really good too. And I liked how there were like cookies, and like how Asa was kind of like more of feature in this book. So, and then my fourth favorite after those ones is Making a Play. I recently read this in October because I just got it. And it's about Riker and Aurora and Aurora's death and dealing with her brother Hunter and Aurora's father really not liking Riker because of his race, so it dealt with a lot of racism issues. So this was really good because I never witnessed this in Abbi Glines book either, and it was kind of nice because she was like breaking the mold with this book, and it's just such a beautiful cover, and I really just enjoyed it. And I loved Aurora's character and how she kind of came into her own, but I fell in love with Riker. And Riker's character was good and everything. I liked him since the first book too. So pretty much I liked all the boys. Like she makes her supporting characters so lovable when it's not their book yet that you can't wait to get to their book. And I feel like Seabreeze was my first favorite for her, and I like to read that in the summer. But when it's like colder outside and it's in the fall, I always like to read The Field Party, and it just makes me really happy, and I can't wait for the next book in this series. So my favorite after those that series, I don't particularly like every book in the Rosemary Beach series. I mean, it is a very good series, and I normally read that like now in the wintertime, but with school and everything, I think I was halfway into Never Too Far, but it's definitely not my favorite top one. But it is a good series, but you just need to have the time to read it or like listen to it on audio if you're like kind of pressed for time. But his audiobooks are pretty good too for that series. My favorite book of all time in that series is Fallen Too Far. I love it so much. It's about Blair Wynne, and it's about her mother dying because she had cancer and she got sick. And she used to live in Selma, Alabama, and she had this friend Kane, or this boyfriend Kane that was her boyfriend, and they didn't end up staying together because like he had an indiscretion with someone and her mother was sick and he really wasn't there for her. So with her mother dying and she sold the house, she decides to go get in contact with her father, who her father said it was okay if she came and stay with him. But when she gets there, he's not there, and he's with Georgiana, Rush's mother in Paris. So they're not even there, and she gets there and she walks into this party, and she meets Russia the first time. And when he meets her, he's like, "Oh, I can't say she's mine. She's cute, but I can't say she's mine. And my bed's already full." And he's kind of a jerk when she first meets him, and you could sort of not like him, but then I did like him because it's kind of like a mystery with him, and he becomes kind of like he does jerky things in some of the other books too, but you can tell like he just has an undying devotion to Blair as soon as they actually become involved. At first, not at first right away, but you can tell he's just completely taken with her, and I don't know, and I love Nan. I used to hate her when I read the books. She's just so fun to hate, and she's just like, when she comes in the books, like you just never know like what she's gonna do, and I really like love her in the books as well, and I love the country club and everything, and I would makes me want to kind of belong to a country club and like go to the pool and just like enjoy myself, and it's just such good feels. And I like read this the one time a few years ago. Like I went to Starbucks and I got like a passion tea lemonade, and I just sat there and read it, and I was like so happy. And it makes me want to like paint my nails, like the color of Claire's Bead. You see it right here, this fuchsia color. It's pretty. But I mean, I'm just saying some of the good memories I've had reading this book, and you can tell it's pretty warm. Like I've had it since 2015, but I really love it. It's my favorite of the whole series. And then my favorite Abbi Glines book of all time is Just for Now from the Seabury series. It's about Amanda and Preston and how she always had a crush on him for how many years. And Preston like always liked Amanda sort of too, but she was always his best friend, Marcus's little sister, and he didn't want to do anything to like jeopardize his friendship with Marcus, so he didn't make a move on her until one night they're at Live Bay and they kind of have a hookup, and like he's drunk and she's drunk and he doesn't remember any of it, but she remembers all of it. And after that, he's just kind of a jerk to her a little bit. He's mean to her, and and then they actually become involved because his sister was sick, and like trying to remember. I haven't read this book in a while, but it's really my favorite. But they become involved, and Preston's like working as like a male escort sort of a thing. So he doesn't want Amanda to find out about his job position because he needs to take care of his brothers and sisters because the mother is like a drug addict and she's like, or an alcoholic, and she's really just nasty to the kids. And so Preston needs the money to take care of them, so that's what he does. And when Amanda finds out, she's really upset about it. Um, but I really like their friendship in the book and how she's like, oh, I need to stay away from Preston, but at the same time, she's like, I love Preston. And just like him, how at first he was like kind of a jerk, and then he's like, I want to be friends. But you can tell that by what he says when he says, I want to be friends, like that they're not going to just be friends. But it's definitely my favorite of all time, and I would read this whenever I need it to pick me up. Like whenever things in life weren't going my way, I would always just like sit and read this book or listen to it on audio. Like I'm so tired of like listening to Abbi Glines books on audio. I would like to read her books, but I never have time, and by the time I do have time, I'm exhausted and I want to go to bed. So I just can't wait to graduate college. But this is definitely my top favorite of hers of all time. I fell in love with this book, and this was the book that made me want to read her books years and years ago. So I really love it. Okay, so those are my pretty much my top favorite Abbi Glines books. I love all her books as well. The Sea Breeze was my first favorite series, and I like to read that in the summer. So I rotate them since I don't really read that many other books besides her books. So in the wintertime, it's normally Rosemary Beach, and I might read The Vincent Boy sometimes. And then in the fall, it's The Field Party, definitely. And in the summer, it's Sea Breeze. And she's written other books, so I haven't really reread those, but some of my top favorite are just her series. Like I love her series, and I know she was talking about how she doesn't know she's gonna have another series right away, except for the field party. But I really hope she does create one soon. And I like the Sea Breeze meets Rosemary Beach series as well. That's a good series as well. But these are like her three first classic series that I love. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I just wanted to give a rundown on some of my favorite Abbi Glines' top favorite books, and I hope that I'll be seeing you again soon.